of his teammate Jorge Martin going into this afternoon's 24-lap MotoGP race. Martin looking to bounce back after 4 crashes so far this weekend, and it's all eyes, in particular for the home fans there, who are packed into the main grandstand here, on Alex Marquez and Pedro Acosta. 52 points. Jaume Masia back in 2023, so we're already kind of getting into that territory as far as Max Killers is concerned. I mean, he might be heading to Mugello in a couple of weeks' time, where of course he won his first ever Grand Prix, leading the championship by over 50 points, which would give him a 2-race buffer. A third of the season still to be completed. You can never take your eyes off Quiles, can you, on circuit in Moto3? He's aggressive, he's such a tactician. He won't be bothered about starting on that 3rd row of the grid, but he will have to be wary. Likewise, some of those riders coming further back about abusing and using up their rear Pirelli tyre too early. Although, of course, what does pay big dividends here in Barcelona with a 1,047-metre start-finish rate, getting the punch out of this final corner and picking up some serious slipstream on that long run down into the first corner. So the Moto3 pack coming under starters' orders for their 6th Grand Prix of the campaign. Adrian Huertas having a little chat there with Pedro Acosta. Pedro Acosta pole position coming up later on for the KTM start in MotoGP. Of course, he was a narrow second in our closest ever sprint finish to Alex Marquez in MotoGP yesterday. So David Munoz comes late to the front row of the grid, 10th front row start of his Grand Prix career for the intact GP rider, and all KTM front row of the grid. Jesus Rios, keep an eye on him, is the top Honda going away from 6 on the grid. 18 laps coming your way. Lights out, and we're racing in Moto3 here in Barcelona. It's a perfect start from pole position by Pironi, although Uriarte's got the drop in very quickly. What a start that was by Brian Uriarte's first front row, and he's going almost in the exit and the pit lane. Well, he isn't the pit lane. Keep off the grass, Brian, as he runs down to the first corner. Dream start then for Uriarte. Almanza's been aggressive on the brakes into the first corner as well. He's having a 3rd place just behind Munoz.
It's just like me at Quiles, just going down the left-hand side of the racetrack. Where are the rest of you going? I'm just going to go down the left and try and get a clear run down to the first corner, and it kind of worked, you have to say, for Quiles. He's up to 4th already.
Pirone's initial jump off the line wasn't bad at all, but as they started going through the gearbox, he started going backwards, although he's put some manners on Quiles there. That's a brave move on Quiles, the world championship leader. Pirone getting back through then into turn 5.
So Rios down a couple, he's 8th. Danish is up ahead of him and trying to take Quiles. Look at that, the Malaysian up the inside of the World Championship leader. I told you to watch Danish, fastest on Friday. He's now 5th.
A class move that by the number 13. Brilliant move. Not too many people have mugged off Quiles in Barcelona.
Yeah,
down the hill into turn 5. Yeah, didn't last for too long though, did it? A couple of corners later, Quiles comes straight back on through. So it's Uriarte then for the first time in his Moto3 career that he leads here. He's at the front early on here in Barcelona. Quiles taking the green paintwork there on the outside of 9.
Someone who's also making his way rapidly up the order is Vader Pratama, already up into 13th place. There he is, look up the inside of Rico Salmela, who's got a long lap penalty to serve very shortly. That's Pratama now up into 13th place. He's gained 7 already on lap 1.
Yeah, it's been a strong start for Bertelli as well. He was up for as high as 7th in the early part of this lap. There is Quiles, then he's got Danish and Rios just behind him. There's a bit of a twitch there from Fernandez. He dropped down the hill into turn 13. Oh, Danish on the inside of Quiles into turn 14. Jorge Lorenzo, Valentino Rossi, eat your heart out. What a move that was by Danish into that final corner as Rios and Quiles go elbow to elbow down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, the rookies are ganging up on the World Championship leader at the moment, aren't they? As the intact pair do a number on Uriarte, both Almanza and Munoz through, and it's the 22 who leads the 64. It's an intact 1-2 now.
Yeah, now Fernandez with the slipstream as Rios made a right hash of that first corner braking zone. He lost the position to Fernandez. Fernandez had already blitzed through on Quiles on the run down to the first corner. It's a shame that for Jesus Rios. He did well actually just to keep it on the tarmac there, because he could have easily run into the long lap penalty loop. Almanza it is that leads from his teammate Munoz. There was our early leader Uriarte there in third place. Down the hill we go. Tricky braking zone, this left-hander into 5.
Different tyre strategies amongst the top 3 that you're looking at. We've got Almanza, who's on the soft rear tyre, as is the rider third in your picture, Uriarte. Munoz second, like in your picture, the 64. He is on the medium rear.
Quiles at the moment back in 8th. He's been roughed up so far, Quiles. In fact, he's now back in 10th. Esteban and Carpe have just picked him off as well. This is not going to plan A at all, is it, for the World Championship? He's now back in 11th.
Yeah, he's getting beaten up big time in these early stages. His teammate Marco Morelli, who's also ahead of him, wasn't a great first lap for us, Sparks. Morelli dropped places, so when you look back down the road, back down the picture, Quiles is the second of the Asparbags. There he is on the pink 28, trying to get some revenge in on Carpe and his teammate Morelli, but the door being slammed in his face.
Gorman's making some forward progress after he was dropped from 12th to 24th on the grid. He's now up into 17th spot, just behind the Aussie Joel Kelso. Yeah, this has not been plan A executed as Quiles wanted at all, has it? As he tries to show his front wheel to Esteban down the hill into 13. He's going to attack him through the final corner into 14. That's a lovely, lovely move, this. Quiles is going to get going here. He can't let this lead group get away.
Surely that's just going to leave him exposed, though, on this main straight, because he's now towing about 7 or 8 riders who are right behind him as they fan out, taking 3-4 different lines. It's 3 wide on the road down to turn 1, and they've clearly got those intact KTMs geared right, haven't they? Because once again, it's Munoz who gets to turn 1 first.
Liking the look of Danish in 5th. He's just set the fastest lap of this Grand Prix, a 1:47.325. Malaysian fans up late in the evening over in KL and all over Malaysia. Well, they'll be loving this. They'll be buzzing as Danish there in 5th. Munoz is a bit wide on the exit of 3. Now Uriarte is going to square him into the turn 4. Lovely that by Uriarte, taking full advantage of that little mistake by Munoz. So Uriarte was the leader at the end of lap 1. He's back at the front on lap 3.
Quiles crucially did hold that place, 8th place. Of course, Salmela got out of the way as Danish now piles up the inside of the pole sitter Peroni. Rios also through on Fernandez, but Quiles, you can now see him at the top of the picture. He's now at the front of that chase group, and his task now is to try and close the gap on the 7 ahead of it.
Something's happened to Morelli on the early part of this lap. He came over the line to start this 3rd lap in 11th. He's been pushed back down to 16th place, so the 2 Aspar riders have been going the wrong way in this Grand Prix.
I do wonder, because he was with Salmela. Salmela's just come through for his long lap penalty. Maybe Morelli got connected with Salmela while he was serving that long lap. Rico Salmela, the rookie, the Finn, is now back to 20th, having served his long lap.
Uriarte then looking so good, so confident. That was Rios toughing it out with Peroni on the brakes into turn 10. Cracking ride this by Jesus Rees. He was starting on a season best 6th place, a career best 6. Here is Jesus Rios then on the 54 bike. He's got a great podium chance here, hasn't he? No question.
Keyless is already closing that gap down now, down to 1.5, up to Fernandez. At the start of the lap, it was nearly 2 seconds. So the World Championship leader, I think he's just hoping that the riders behind him recognise what's going on and that Keyless can tow them up. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix to Jesus Rios. He's going to pick up a 4-bike slipstream. And Danish, who's light as a feather, is going to go from 4th to the lead now.
He could lead, yeah. He rubs knees with Munoz in the braking zone for the first corner. What a lap that was by Rios. So 147.2. That was 7/10 quicker than your race leader Uriarte. Jesus Rios is loving this front battle at the front. He's got a long lap penalty for causing contact. He's a lanky old fella, Guido Pini, so he's going to have to come through the long lap pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to spot the contact and try and give penalties out because it's going on everywhere in this Moto3 race as Rios tries to take that inside line on Uriarte, who led at the start of the lap, and that just goes to show you, if you're leading and towing riders down the main straight, you can get beaten up badly. Fernandez also through now, so Uriarte has now lost 6 places on this lap, with Peroni also ahead of him now.
Yeah, you give a gap to Adrian Fernandez that big and he's going to swallow it up. No second invite needed for they've got themselves back into this league group. You saw Carpe there as he dropped down through 13, have a big long look over his left shoulder to see who was the closest competition. Rios trying to pick up some slipstream here. So too is Fernandez and Munoz. They're going to fan out 4, 5 abreast. Danish there keeping a watching brief at the back. Almanza, nothing wrong with the top speed of his KTM at all. He's really aerodynamic as well. He's a bit of a pocket rocket, is Almanza. Nobody got close to him on the slipstream. Almanza, Rios, Fernandez in that top group in the 47s. Just said about Keyless and Carpe getting on with business. Carpe just said his fastest lap of the Grand Prix at 47.5 as Danish hugs the inside line on Rios. Danish then back up into P4 going through 4.
Yeah, Carpe's been quite clever, hasn't he, in these early stages, just going with Keyless and letting him tow him up to the leading group. Behind them is Peroni, who's having a poor race, you have to say, from pole position, as Rios tried to repeat the trick on Danish, but unfortunately that one wasn't successful for him.
Yeah, Morelli's only recovered. He dropped down to as low as 16th, 17th. Early on, he's back up into the point scoring place in 14th spot. Further down, Yamanaka has just got through on Rico Salmeli. Yamanaka started 17th. He's now up to 18th place. Here is Rios then. Fastest lap of this Grand Prix so far.
Keep an eye on Pratama too, the number 9, he's in 10th place, he's in the 47s as well, as that's Uriarte up the inside of Rios. It's a leading group of 9 that you can see in your picture, but Veda Pratama, who's come from 20th on the grid, he's also catching this group quickly.
Uriarte and Rios really toughing it out as they went through turn 12. That's where Jorge Martin had the scary crash in MotoGP on Friday morning. We've got yellow flags out in sector 4. More than likely somebody's down at turn 10. That's the beginning of turn 10 is the start of sector 4, I should say. It's Carrara who's gone down. He was having a poor Grand Prix weekend anyway. Teammate to Jesus Rios. Almanza then ticks up another lap at the front. Munoz, Uriarte and Carpe in this league group have all set their best laps to Grand Prix so far. Here comes Fernandez. Can he attack Munoz on the brakes into turn 1? Oh, out of shape on the brakes was Munoz, but he holds the lead.
Almanza lunging up the inside of Danish to at least keep himself in third place. Peroni's got no pace at all at the moment on the Tech 3 bike. He's in the 48. He's nearly a second and a lap off the pace. He's about to get swallowed up by Pratama. This is the crash for Carraro. He was running just ahead of Ramersdorfer and Mitani. That was the battle for 22nd place. Carraro out the number 10 down at turn 10.
Fernandez looks like he's gone wide going through turn 4. Was he out wide of his own accord, or did he get a bit of a helping hand? He's going to try and strike straight back on Danish down the hill. Rios through on Uriarte. You can't take your eyes off this lead group, can you, of 8? Chopping and changing positions pretty much every corner. So Fernandez then back up into P3. Nice move that through on Danish into 5.
And in that same corner, Carpe picked the pocket of Quiles, but once again, much like we saw with the rookie Danish earlier, Quiles straight back through into turn 7. Quiles, I think he's done a lot of the hard work here now. He's caught on to the back of this leading group. He's now got an opportunity to try and build a bit of patience, save some tyre, and let the race come to him later on.
Oh, Fernandez got superb pace through turn 9. That was all set up through his corner speed going through turn 9. He was close enough then just to seize that inside line on Munoz into 10. That was textbook, that by Fernandez, as Perone's woes 48.4 on his last lap from Peroni. He was the slowest rider of the top 10 by some distance. The only rider in the 48s on that last lap was Rios, and of course he was getting barged about himself as Danish. He loves that
Fernandez.
move. He loves that move, does he? Fernandez takes the lead at 14, but through turn 14, Hakim Danish has made some killer moves there already in this Grand Prix. He's going to get attacked though by Munoz. Fernandez is under attack from Almansa. Well, everybody's attacking each other right now as Uriarte chops the front wheel of Danish in the braking zone. Oh, Munoz and Fernandez. Those two have got history. Those two have previous. They rubbed elbows in the first corner. And out of all of it, it's Fernandez that leads.
And Uriarte around the outside of Almansa gets the inside into 2, and he takes second place. Quiles with the best view in the house. He's now picked off 2 of those. He's now ahead of Carpe and Danish. The leading group of 7, in fact 8 riders back to Danish. You could throw a blanket over them.
The only rider in the top 10 at the moment that's in the 47s is Rios. Don't take your eyes off the number 54. So it's Adrian Fernandez then back at the front of this Grand Prix, second in the World Championship. Back-to-back second places after a shaky start to the new campaign. 40 points out of the last 50 as Munoz dive bombs his teammate Almansa into 5. Friendly fire there between the two Dynavolt riders.
Yeah, the riders remember to look out for in terms of tyres as Almansa dishes out some a counter-attack on Munoz there in third place. The riders on the soft rear tyre in this group are Uriarte, Almansa and Rios. Fernandez too, actually, the race leader, is on the soft rear tyre. The Hondas do prefer to go for the soft rear, but let's see how that works out for them in the second half of the race.
Can't discount Pratama, Peroni, Esteban, O'Gorman, Morelli, Batelli, Kelso getting involved in this podium fight, because on that last lap, Esteban, O'Gorman, Morelli and Kelso, I'm telling you, we mentioned they were all in the 47s. They were quite quicker than this lead group, who are bumping and barging each other all over this Barcelona circuit. Uriarte somehow has got himself back to the front of this Grand Prix, but Pratama is dragging a big group along with him as well into podium contention. What was a sort of 8-rider battle, we thought, for the win. Well, it could very, very quickly be a 15-16 rider battle for the win.
And that is very Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Munoz wide out of the final corner. Will that give him some trouble when we get down to turn 1? Lap 8 of 18. Yeah, the leaders, well, Uriarte did a 47.8, but everyone else in the group behind him did 48. Danish did a 49.0. And you've got the likes of Batelli and Kelso doing personal best in the 47s. Further back, Keyless desperately pleading his asked by KTM to stop there as he nearly ran to the back of Rios, and that opened the door there for Carpe to pile through.
It's not a particularly quick race either, is it? I mean, a 47.2 is Rios's best lap of the Grand Prix. That's half a second away from the race record held by Jose Antonio Rueda. As then we look at Patama, then now he's right on the back of this lead group, isn't he? And that's lovely by Danish. Danish has made some class moves in this Grand Prix, just lifting up Keyless, and that's allowed Patama to come on through. So our Southeast Asian fans are loving this Barcelona Grand Prix. Keyless straight back through on Patama. I mean, how many overtakes have we already had in this lead group? And we're not even anywhere near half race distance.
So many of them have been on Max Keyless. Just did a 1:47.571, half a second quicker than this group are going. 5
or 6 riders in front of O'Shea, punching a massive hole in the air. Brilliant by O'Shea. He's utilising that slipstream to maximum effect. Casey O'Gorman's had an absolute blinding ride, as well as Rios once again sends it on the inside of Almanza into 5. Let's not forget O'Gorman was pushed back 12 places on the grid from 12th to 24th. He's come back into the top 10. He's only 2.2 seconds off the race lead at the moment, is O'Gorman. Looking forward to seeing what the 658 squad of course rider can do in the second half of this Grand Prix, because the first 9 laps have been superb.
Uriarte showing the kind of form that he wants to try and stretch this group out a little bit and calm things down at the front. The problem Uriarte is going to have is as soon as he gets onto the main straight, with a lead like that, that'll be nowhere near enough. By the time they get on to the 1 kilometre main straight, he'll just get reeled back in again with the power of the slipstream here. Looking back in the group behind him, Keyless still running around in 8th place. He's still just up behind Carpe. In fact, he might have lost another one because Danish is down ahead of him. Pratama with the group now starting to pick up the pace again. Pratama in danger of just getting detached again slightly.
Said pre-race, it felt like today was going to be potentially a big breakthrough day, as far as Danish once again makes that move. Going through on Almanza this time at turn 14. I think everybody in this league group has been mugged by Danish in that final corner. Uriarte, then it is your leader. You just sense pre-race that this might be a big day for Uriarte. And once again, he's trying to break the toe behind him. Fernandez just eases to the inside line, just to let him know he's still there. As Almanza then through on Rios. Almanza's an absolute missile, isn't he, down the start-finish straight. He was behind Danish coming onto that run down to turn 1. He got through on Rios and Danish back up into 4th, the Thai Grand Prix winner.
It's Pratama in 9th now. He's 1.8 seconds off the lead and 6/10 off the back of the group ahead of him, which is tailed by Keyless. Rios back through on David Almanza. The KTM, certainly in the more pointed squirt sections of this racetrack, very, very quick in the sort of longer corners where you want that edge grip. The Hondas look like they come back into the reckoning. Munoz taking Fernandez now into turn 5. So it's intact, but both of those riders are battling with some young whippersnappers on Hondas.
And right now, just keeping his powder dry as Fernandez straight back through on Munoz as we go through 7 and 8, just keeping his powder dry. Seemingly at this stage the Grand Prix just content to watch all the chaos unfold in front of him. It's Keyless still there in 8th place. Perrone from pole position. Well, his slump continues. He's back down in 12th at the moment. Perrone, I mean, has he done a 47 at any stage in this Grand Prix? Not too many of them if he has.
No, but he's struggling badly. He's not going to score any points if he carries that on. Munoz has been able to Mug Fernandez. We know these two have got previous as recently as Jerez when they were battling for second place. Munoz now has that second place, but they do need to be a little bit careful here to not allow Uriarte to build up too much of a cushion. It's half a second now.
It's a sorry Sunday here for Perrone. He was 12th at the start of this lap 10. He's been pushed back outside the points now. Bertelli's got him down to 16th place as Keyless goes wide on the green out of the final corner. He's going to have to be careful there. The stewards will be keeping a very close eye on that one. Fernandez then, is he close enough this time to pick up some slipstream and strike on Uriarte? Uriarte this time around, he hooks the right hand side of the circuit. He's going ultra defensive once again, is Uriarte. That's getting tight as Fernandez gets hung out to drive by Almanza. That's allowed Munoz to come back into the podium places as well. Still making no serious attack, still making no aggressive manoeuvres towards the front here is Keyless. He's been at the back of this pack now for 3 or 4 laps. Just getting entertained, I'm sure, but just thinking, okay, at some point this pace can't be sustained. There's going to be a drop off with the tyres. When do I feel like it's my moment to maybe start coming through, scything my way through?
And 3 of the 4 riders ahead of him are on the softer rear tyre, which might well come into play in the latter stages. Rios looks like he's attacking Carpe. That's for 6th place. Rios really is entertaining us and on course at the moment for his best Moto3 results, as I mentioned, at a circuit that's often favoured him in the past. Shout out for another rookie, Morelli, who's now jumped onto the back of this train. He's the second of the Aspar bikes in 9th place. He's about to latch onto the rear tyre of his teammate Keyless.
Well, that's how close the stewards were watching Keyless. I saw him go on the green out of the final corner and right on cue he has a track limits warning. Yeah, that last lap by Morelli, 47.592. I mean, he was outside the point scoring places at the start of this Grand Prix. As Danish opens the door wide open. Danish charged into 10, way too hot there, didn't he? That's allowed Rios and Carpe to come back through.
Caught Uriarte, they've reeled in Uriarte on this lap. Now he's got the 2 intact riders who we know are going to attack at any opportunity they get. And that KTM, clearly the intact bikes geared up for this long main straight. So Almanza and Munoz, they're both going to be eyeing up an attack on the leader Uriarte now.
Does not look like this is the first time Uriarte has led a Grand Prix. He looks measured, he looks assured, doesn't he, leading this battle. Almanza now has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Pace is hotting up here. Was there just a little bit of a lull while the riders should try to make sure they were protecting those tyres for a late charge? Almanza thought about a move on the inside of Uriarte into 1. 47.252 that lap by Almanza. He dragged out Munoz, his teammate, around to his best lap of the Grand Prix as well. Only rider in the top 10 on the last lap that was in the 48th was Danish, although we did see him go charging in hot into 10, which saw him lose places to Rios and Carpe, place that he's now trying to recover and has recovered.
How good was Uriarte on the brakes there into turn 1? Looked like he'd almost lost that one, but was able to outbrake both Almanza and Munoz to keep the lead. We've got Danish attacking, we've got Rios attacking, and they're both attacking Adrian Fernandez, who's now on the outside line, and there are no Moto3 riders who are going to let you back onto line there, Adrian.
Top of your picture there, fair play to O'Shea. Looks like he's broken that group that he was involved in with Perrone, Cruces, Esteban and his teammate Kelso. Eddie O'Shea in 12th position, one of his best dry race results looming for the Brit for MLAV Racing. Yeah, top job that by O'Shea. 1.6 seconds though behind Patama in 11th.
Once again, Uriarte using his defensive skills, covering the inside line. Of course, Almanza knows all about that. He got very defensive into the final corner against Quiles in Buriram, and it helped him win his first Grand Prix. So it's turning into a bit of a chess match now as we head into the final 6 laps of this Grand Prix, and all the riders will be thinking in their heads, where do I want to be going on to that main straight to start the final lap? Do you want to lead? Do you want to be second? Do you want to be third or further back?
Look at this. Uriarte, Almanza and Munoz are just threatening a bit of a breakaway here. We're at 2/3 distance here in Barcelona. Let's just check the gap between Munoz on the 64 bike, and I think it was Rios that was in 4th place in that final sector. Over the line we go, yeah. Rios is now almost half a second behind Munoz. He'll recover a bit of time in the slipstream here as the top 3 go side by side. Uriarte in an intact sandwich here on the brakes into the first corner. He gets picked off by both. Almanza, well, he's got the fastest motorcycle through the speed charts here, hasn't he? Clearly Almanza, so good he is. He obviously, it's all down to the fact that he gets good drive out the final corner as well. But Uriarte then back in 3rd place.
Rios refuses to be shaken off in this group as he used the slipstream and some braking prowess to stay ahead of Carpe. Quiles has now gained a couple. He's 6th. He's ahead of Danish and Fernandez. Fernandez starting to fade at this stage of the race. He's now in 8th position.
It was interesting to see the effect of the slipstream on that lad's lap. Uriarte was leading out the final corner, and directly behind him with clear air, Almanza was 5 kilometers an hour quicker through the speed gun, and Munoz, who was behind the pair of them, was 5.5 kilometers an hour faster than Uriarte. So that's what we're dealing with here. There are the numbers in terms of working out how much the slipstream can play big dividends here in Barcelona. At the end of the straight, 5 kilometers was the difference between Uriarte and Almanza.
What could be crucial on the final lap is that the finish line is closer to the last corner, so it's not necessarily the kind of final corner where you can follow and slipstream to the line, because it's right outside a commentary box window directly underneath the podium. So if you're thinking about the final lap, you really want to lead out of the final corner.
Andrew Fernandez is suffering. He was right in the heart of the victory battle here, wasn't he, not too long ago, but he's been back down in 8th place now.
Look at Rios taking 2 of them.
Oh, Rios.
2 intact overtakes for Rios, and well, he was about to lead, but unfortunately a little bit too optimistic.
Yeah, fast on entry sometimes means slow on exit. He's going to get absolutely swallowed. Here comes Quiles. Here comes Quiles. You can just see the 28 right there on the far left of your picture, just behind, well, just in front of Rios. And now Quiles is charging towards the top 3. He's inside the top 3 for the first time in this Grand Prix. Not for too long though, because Carpe dives on the inside on the 83 bike. But Carpe and Quiles, they're coming.
Credit to Carpe, he has not enjoyed himself so far this weekend. Remember, he qualified down in 14th. This is what it looked like from Quiles, who was on the grass. Pit wall, pit board, less than a metre away from him, but Quiles managed to hang on to it. It's all kicking off, as you can see, top left of your screens. We now rejoin that leading battle, and it looks like Carpe is now threatening to take the lead of this race.
Quiles can't complain that he couldn't see his pit board at the start of that lap, and now Quiles on the inside of Munoz. Clean as a whistle, wasn't it, that by Quiles? Whoa, Carpe has a good left. Look to his left. Whoa, dearie me. It's getting a bit feisty, this, getting a bit spicy at the front here in Barcelona. Carpe, as he had a good long look to his left through on Almanza. Well, that just opened the door for Quiles to fire on through. So it's Almanza and Quiles at the front. Are we going to get set for another a Borough Belter like we had in the season opener here in Barcelona. Almanza it is that leads. Quiles are now into second. It looks like it's been another tactical masterclass this by Quiles. For so long he was down in 8th place, but now we're into the final third this Grand Prix, 4.5 to go. He has decided to make a significant move.
And he's just done a 1:47.2 on the previous lap. His personal best lap of the Grand Prix was a second quicker than Almanza, who now leads. Of course, we've seen plenty of Almanza and Quiles at the front of races. Didn't look as if Quiles had the greatest top-end speed, has to be said. When we were riding on board him, there was just so much action up ahead of him that he just took full advantage of it. Once again, he was flirting with the outside track limits. He's already had a warning.
He's got a warning. It's twice now through the final corner that he's been, well, the last time he wasn't the green and got the track limits warning. There's Munoz getting some fantastic slipstream. Look at Munoz there behind Carpe. Danish behind Munoz and Carpe. The Malaysian's going to be third. Is he going to just drop in fourth? Trying to drop in front of Uriarte. Just has to back out of it ever so slightly. But Quiles leads. Max Quiles then, who's taken 115 out of the first, 125 points on the table in 2026. He is back in very familiar territory. Quiles leads here in Barcelona, 4 to go.
And the Aspar team will be very nervously watching their timing screens, hoping that the words long lap penalty don't appear next to Max Quiles' name. Danish very much still in this and still in the hunt for a maiden podium. He's 5th on the road as a Carpe looks to take that inside line on his teammate Uriarte. We've got IO KTM's 3rd and 4th.
Nice move by Morelli further down there to take 8th away from Fernandez. Fernandez struggling a little bit at this stage of the Grand Prix. Top right by O'Gorman. Casey O'Gorman, 24th on the grid. He really was paying for an aggressive start, and then now he's come through with the slipstream as well. This has been a class ride by O'Gorman. Quiles then at the front, side by side he goes with Almanza. Uriarte also trying to pick up a bit of a draft on the run out of turn 9. Almanza it is that's back at the front. He's in the Almanza lane there, isn't he?
All in a straight line, wasn't it? It didn't need to use any speed on the prowess on the brakes. It was all speed out of the corner and then speed down the straight. So Max Quiles is now well aware that he's got a bit of a disadvantage in terms of outright straight line speed over David Almanza, but tactically we know Quiles is as cunning an operator as you'll find in Moto3.
Carpe, the latest in this epic Barcelona brawl here in Moto3 to get a track limits warning. This is now going to be all about the slipstream, and Quiles once again hugging the white line. He goes grass cutting once again on the long run down to the start finish line.
Next offence will result in a long lap penalty. He is on his final warning. He's absolutely surrounded here by KTMs and Hondas, and it's now an IO 1 and 2, and Uriarte's back to the front.
How close do you want it in Moto3? Oh, Carpe was almost out of the seat, almost high-sided himself to the moon there on the gas coming out of turn 3, and Munoz just basically sideswipes him, going through a good old-fashioned shoulder barge there from Munoz into 4. There were 7 or 8 abreast, weren't they, on the brakes into the first corner, but it's Uriarte now that's back at the front.
And Munoz was completely sideways. No wonder he ran wide into turn 4. There are a few places I'd want to be on a Moto3 racetrack, but the last place I want to be is on the outside of David Munoz.
O'Gorman was 24th. I think he'd be on the podium here. At the back of your picture, he's just come through on Fernandez briefly. Fernandez was able to just close the door and keep the Irish rider at bay, but I mean, anyone's guess from the top 10 here who could win this Grand Prix or finish inside the top 3. At the moment, Uriarte, previous best finish in his Moto3 career, a 7th.
Pulling away here.
Yeah, he's pulling away. He's pulling away. 3/10 he was clear through the second sector. Let's check his progress over Quiles, still in second place. Yeah, it's still it. He's got about half a dozen bike lengths back to Quiles.
Yeah, it's hard to work out because he's been changing so much, but Uriarte, it certainly feels like he's done most of the leading in this Grand Prix. He's been able to manage that soft rear tyre pretty well. It hasn't dropped yet on Brian Uriarte. We've got 2 more laps for the young Spaniard, the junior world champion, to try and become a Moto3 Grand Prix winner for the first time.
Yeah, it could be the best day in the life of Brian as it stands at the moment. He has got, what, 2 laps remaining. They power down the start-finish straight. Uriarte with a 1/4 of a second advantage over Quiles. They're desperate to try and pick up some slipstream. Look at Quiles motoring towards Uriarte. Can he outbrake Uriarte into first corner? Look how aggressive, look how hard Uriarte was playing that KTM to stop. He had his rear tyre almost in the air there. Uriarte then still leads.
We've got Danish now back into 4th. He's cleared Almanza, so this is a crucial lap then. Penultimate lap. You want to position yourself to be in the best possible spot onto the main straight to start the final lap, to pick up potentially 2, 3, 4 bike slipstream. You could start the final lap in 5th and lead into turn 1.
Well, Quiles so far this season has not finished lower than second place. It's a second place he occupies at the moment, but not for much longer though, because Munoz, that was a class move by Munoz. It was a hard move, but it was clean. Through on Quiles and down the hill into turn 5.
Yeah, Munoz wants Uriarte's rear tyre coming onto the main straight to start the final lap. That might well be the best place to be. We've got, what, 10